Welcome to Was and Wire. Today we're talking about Saifuddin Nasution's commitment to community bonds. We're jumping straight into, well, a pretty striking decision made recently by Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail. He had this direct clash, a choice between traveling with the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, to Sabah for official duties, or attending a big community dinner back in Padang Serai, Kedah. And he chose the dinner.
Yeah, that's more than just picking one event over another, isn't it? It's sending a signal, a really strong one. I mean, think about it. Usually a request from the Prime Minister, especially for an official trip, that takes precedence over pretty much everything. So when a very senior minister, the Home Minister no less, publicly opts for a local event, specifically a large Chinese community gathering, over traveling with the head of government, well, you really have to look at the political calculation there. What's being prioritized?
Exactly. And it wasn't like he just quietly bowed out. He was apparently quite open about it. He mentioned he got the invite from the PM in the afternoon, pretty close to the departure time. But he said no, told the PM he had this prior commitment to share a meal with friends at the Ling Tong Kong 9 Emperor Gods Festival dinner. The 1,000-person feast, they call it, right there in Padang Serai.
And that openness, that specific detail about refusing the PM to be there, that's where the impact comes from. Imagine standing in front of over 1,000 people from that community and saying, essentially, I turned down the most powerful person in the country to be here with you.
Yeah.
Of course, it got huge applause. But beyond that, it builds, well, serious loyalty. It shows power hasn't made him forget his local promises.
Okay, but playing devil's advocate for a second, isn't there a risk, making such a public show of prioritizing a local thing over a state trip with the PM? Could that look like he's, neglecting his cabinet duties? How does that sit with Anwar or the rest of the coalition partners?
Oh, absolutely. It's a risk. A calculated one, I'd say. But look at the potential reward. Saifuddin's the Home Minister, a key position, and he framed it carefully, not as disrespecting the PM, but upholding a principle. He talked about friendship and loyalty mattering more than status or position. That elevates it, doesn't it? It's less about logistics and more about, well, political character. He's saying, I'm a minister now, but I remember my roots. And for a government trying to emphasize integrity, that kind of message, it actually carries weight.
Right. So the message about his values seems clear. But it makes you wonder what was so special about this dinner, this specific group of friends. Why risk political friction for this particular event? There must be some deep roots there.
There are, and he made sure people knew about them. It comes down to a relationship that's lasted, believe it or not, 25 years. It wasn't formed when he was already powerful. It was forged way back during a really tough time. He specifically mentioned his long friendship with a vegetable wholesaler.
25 years, so we're talking about late 90s?
Exactly, 1999 to be precise. Saifuddin was the state assemblyman for Lunas back then.
Ah, Lunas. And what was happening in 99?
It was a really bad time for the area. Severe floods hit the constituency hard. Devastating, apparently. And Saifuddin, well, he was relatively new, didn't have a lot of resources. He recalled having basically no money. But he desperately wanted to help the people affected by the floods. You can imagine the pressure, the feeling of helplessness. That's the scene he painted.
Right, a classic political test. Constituents in crisis. Representative wants to help, but empty pockets.
And crucially, Saifuddin stressed how he helped. Provided huge amounts of vegetables, other relief supplies too, essential stuff for the flood victims. And the key word Saifuddin used again and again, apparently, was unconditionally.
Unconditionally. That's a powerful word in politics, isn't it?
It really is. No strings attached, no deals discussed, just help given when it was most needed. Support during his most difficult times, as Saifuddin put it.
So help when he was down, asking for nothing when he got up. That's the core of it.
Precisely. And this is the clincher, politically speaking. Saifuddin made a point of saying this friend has never asked for anything back. Think about that. Never asked for contracts, projects, nothing. Saifuddin even said he has never once set foot in his ministerial office seeking favors.
Wow. Okay. Connecting the dots in today's political climate where there's so much focus on stamping out corruption, on, dodgy deals, telling that story about that kind of unconditional support from years ago, it becomes a powerful personal testament for him, doesn't it?
It's invaluable. It paints him as someone whose loyalties are pure, rooted in genuine gratitude, not transactions. It subtly reinforces the idea that his focus is on governing for the people, represented by that community dinner, not on rewarding cronies.
And for the unity government as a whole, trying to project that clean image, having a senior minister embody that non-transactional history, that's a political asset.
Absolutely. It suggests his political debts are to the community, not to individuals pulling strings behind the scenes. It aligns perfectly with the government's anti-corruption narrative, even if it meant, a slightly awkward phone call with the PM's office about the Sabah trip.
Okay, so beyond the personal story and the symbolism, there was also concrete support given at the event itself, right? Saifuddin announced some funding for the temple.
Yes, he did. An allocation of 10,000 ringgit for the Lingtong Kong temple, for their development, their activities.
And this temple, Lingtong Kong, it's significant locally.
Very much so. It's not just any temple. It's been there for 111 years. Think about that history. It's a really important center for the local Chinese community's culture, their religious heritage in Padang Serai. Plus, this specific dinner, the Nine Emperor Gods Festival one. So having over 1,000 people turn up, that shows it was a major event for the community, a moment of sort of cultural resurgence.
So showing up wasn't just about the old friendship. It was about recognizing and supporting a key community institution at a really significant moment for them.
Exactly. Prioritizing it, giving the allocation, sharing that personal story there. It's a multi-layered investment in grassroots connection and, crucially, cross-ethnic connection.
And he used the platform for a broader message, too.
He did. He linked his personal journey, from being a 36-year-old assemblyman back then to a 62-year-old minister now, to his core approach. He stressed his mindset hasn't changed, still focused on the people.
And the unity message, what was the core of that?
It was a direct call for Malaysians, he mentioned. Malays, Chinese, Indians specifically to support each other, to move forward together. He kept coming back to this idea of one Malaysian family. Delivering that message, that specific multiracial appeal at a major Chinese religious event in Kedah, well, that's strategically very pointed. It's a direct counter to divisive narratives and reinforces the government's platform, especially in a state where identity politics can be quite strong.
So it all ties together then. The personal loyalty leads to community engagement, which reinforces the national unity narrative, a kind of perfect political circle.
I think that's a good way to put it. This whole episode, this choice he made, it really highlights how crucial those grassroots ties are, especially across ethnic lines. For this administration, maintaining that ground support, built on history and perceived integrity, not just obligation, that's fundamental. It's political survival almost.
Which really brings us to the question for you, listening right now. We've laid out the history, the gesture, the potential political angles. How do you see this decision by Saifuddin Nasution? Was it genuinely just a case of heartfelt gratitude, a personal promise kept, overriding the usual demands of high office? Or was it maybe a very clever, very calculated political move, using a powerful personal story to shore up support in a key community, hitting all the right notes for maximum impact? Where do you think the balance lies between the heart and the strategy here? We'd genuinely like to know what you think. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.